ज्ञानतिमरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay, so reading here from the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 2 shlokas each. And we have a reading order, which maybe Khyati Mataji can tell us all what it is.
Yes, Mataji, I can say.
Thank you.
So it's Sutapa Mataji, Archana Mataji, Meera Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Sukomal Radhe Mataji, and then I will read. And I will add all the devotees who join between Sukomal Radhe Mataji and myself. And then back to Sutapa Mataji.
And then Vindhyavali Mataji, when she joins, she goes on the top.
Yes.
We have a complicated reading list. All right. Sutapa Mataji, go ahead.
Yes. Um, Chapter 14, The Three Modes of Material Nature. Text 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. Text 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Achana Mataji?
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 3, the total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Text 4.
I'm just scrolling it up. Hold
Yeah.
on. Lost my mouse. All right. Here he comes.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 4, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Hare Krishna. Meera Mataji?
Text 5. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjun, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Text 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by the sense of happiness and knowledge. Hare Krishna, Varshana Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandat Pranam. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Text 8. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode of madness, indolence, and sleep, with which bind the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Khyati Mataji.
Text 9. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Text 10. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Khyati.
Sulekha Mataji, your turn to read, and then Semi Mataji, if you can read after.
Sure.
Sulekha.
Yes, I can read, Mataji.
Okay.
Who should I read after? Khyati Mataji or?
After Sulekha Mataji.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mataji.
Text 11. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Text 12. O chief of the Bhartas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. So,
Hare Krishna. Text 13.
Text 13.
oh, who is next? Or
Simi Mataji.
Okay, text 13. Hare Krishna. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in mode of goodness, he attains the pure higher planets of great sages. Hare Krishna.
Text 15. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Text 16. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in mode of goodness, but action done in mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. So I see Indyavali Mataji has joined. So she's right at the time. If she wants to read text 17 and 18, Mataji, go ahead. Text 17
Okay.
and 18.
Okay. हरे कृष्णा ग्लोरीज टू श्रील प्रभुपाद माफ कर दीजिए from
Yes.
the mode of goodness real knowledge develops, from the mode of passion greed develops, and from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness like me, madness and illusion. Text 18. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live in the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you.
Text 19. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Text 20. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Archana Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 21. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? Texts 22 to 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the just a minute, Mataji. Of all the material qualities remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Meera Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Text 27. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, who is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna, Varshana Mataji.
What would Manashana Mataji read? We came to the end. All right, it's time for reflections.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I really loved text verse 4, especially this particular line, Aham Bij Prada Pita. That Krishna is actually the original father of all living entities.
Seed
This is
giving, yeah.
so
Seed giving.
nice. Yeah, this is lovely.
There is one more verse that talks about that Krishna is the seed of everything. Can you think of that?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead.
Mataji, in Brahm Samhita, when Klim is said, so that is also the beach. God is the beach giving, he is the seed giving.
No, I was expecting something else from you actually.
Okay.
Krishna is the source of everything. You know it, Varjana.
Mataji, aham
Cause
sarvasya
of all causes.
I am the cause of all. I am the
Causes.
original cause of all causes. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah.
Sarvam parvate iti bhajante mam buddha bhaktamanvita.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I am the original cause of I am the original cause of everything, both spiritual and material. And the all my devotees who know these, they actually, render devotional service onto me.
Very good. So which words there say both material and spiritual?
I mean, Mataji, this particular verse you are asking.
Yeah. The translation you gave us, right? You said that he's saying everything material and spiritual comes from him.
It's Mataji 10.8.
10.8 in which scripture?
Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's bring up 10.8. Coming up 10.8 on a screen close to you. Please confirm when you get this. So which word over here says that he's the source of everything spiritual and material?
Sharbham, everything.
Sarvam parvartate.
Yes, and one more.
Prabhava, Mataji, the source of generation.
Yeah, but source of generation, I'm talking about what word covers spiritual and material.
Pravartate Mataji emanates.
That we did.
Okay.
Parvatate, again, Parvate emanates doesn't mean spiritual and material, right? Sarvam, yeah.
Everything.
Sarvam.
Sharbham, yeah, everything. Yeah, that you
Right?
told, Mataji.
And then one more along the same lines. One more. It is there.
Sharvasya, of all.
Sarvasya, right? Sarvasya and Sarvam, right? So in this verse, we are just going into nitty-gritties and the details, Archana, that I just wanted to mention that it doesn't have those words explicitly, charachar, like they will say, right? Satasat. It's not, this verse doesn't have that. But because they are saying Sarvam, so it kind of covers everything. So when you say everything, it means material and spiritual. And then Prabhupada is clarifying that in the translations where he's saying, I'm the source of all spiritual and material world, right? So the all word is kind of covering over there. Yeah. And then Bhamma Samhita verse number 1. Who knows that?
Yeah, Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Sachidananda Vigraha.
Anadir Adir Govind. Sarvakaran Karanam.
Karanam.
So which one says that he's the source of everything?
Sarvakarana
Karanam. Yes, right. So then the beach part, Varshana Mataji, in that context when you were talking about beach, so it meant there they were talking not about Krishna as the beach. It's not talking about Krishna as the source of everything. The Kim Krishnaya Govinda, that verse that we're reading. When we are talking about beach mantra, we are talking about the seed of the mantra.
Mantra,
Yeah.
right.
Right, and not the seed of this material world. Okay, yeah, good.
Right.
Any other
Hare
reflection?
Krishna Mataji, sorry.
Simi, yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So Mataji, I could be wrong. I'm most likely wrong. But Canto 1, Chapter 1, text, text. Isn't there also it is mentioned that, and from there I think there is a Brahma Samhita
Let's bring that up. This was, well, before you joined, this was a verse that we used to sing every Friday. Now from here, read the synonyms and tell me which part of this is, and you are right, Simi, on the dot, but which words are telling you that he's the source of both material and spiritual?
Janmadi.
And what does Janmadi mean?
Creation, sustenance, and destruction.
So if I say the word creation, sustenance, destruction, how do you understand that it's talking about both spiritual and material? We can't, right? From those three words,
Oh.
right? Yeah. Which words are telling you about that spiritual and material? Okay, whose turn is it to read?
Mataji, how about Kuhakam, illusion, and Satyam, truth?
Okay. Whose turn? We'll hold that thought. Whose turn is it to read?
Varshana Mataji.
Okay, Vaishana Mataji, give us the synonym.
Mine.
Okay. Give us the
Om. Om, O my Lord, Nama, offering the obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudevai, unto Vasudev, the son of Vasudev, O Lord of, or Lord Shri Krishna, the primeval Lord, Janmadi, creation, sustenance, and destruction, Asya, of the manifested universes, Yataha. Yes, Mataji.
Did you get the answer?
Yes, Mataji is the last word.
Manifested universal.
There you go, right? And so, but they're not using them as spiritual. Again, Sat Asat is not mentioned that they're saying Asya. Asya means these, right? So when they're using Asya, but then in the context, it is explained that that's why Prabhupada does not say that this is the word meaning. Prabhupada is saying it's a synonym. Synonym is a word that means somewhat the same, right? So here in the context, you think Asya, Iha, so Iha means here. Now, the word here doesn't mean material world. But in the context, if I'm talking about, when I say here, it can mean the material world because I am in the material world. If I say here, I live here, then it can be translated as that I live in the material world. So sometimes in these verses, you have to understand the meanings from the context and not exactly word by word meaning. And that's why Prabhupada has very, very smartly used the term synonyms over here, right? Like that. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, I have a question actually. In verse 3, there's a word that comes Brahman. So that which is like here in translation, it is mentioned the total material substance is called Brahman. So Mataji, Brahman is the same as Mahatattva or it's the
Yes.
different? I was just confused.
Yes.
Okay.
Total material substance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mataji, Mahatattva, it's created by Mahavishnu, right?
Yeah. And it is already created there. Not it is already there. Yes, as part of the original creation. And it is not Mahatattva. It's Mahat Tattva.
Oh, Mahatva.
Mahat means great in Sanskrit. Yeah. Yeah. Which in Hindi becomes Maha. So sometimes we, kind of mix Hindi and Sanskrit and say Mahatattva, but it's Mahat Tattva.
Mahat Tattva. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Good. Okay, so let's go back to our chapter 14. Any other?
Mataji, text 15. Those engaged in fruitive activities and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. We know a couple of mode of ignorance, but can you give me some more example, Mataji? The mode of ignorance.
Mode of ignorance? Okay, let's take it from the others. Give me some example of modes of ignorance.
A person who sleeps too much, who is very lazy.
So
is in the
laziness. Yeah, so laziness is mode of ignorance.
Indolence. inertia.
So how are indolence, inertia different from lazy?
Yeah, more or less same words.
Then, right? Okay. What else is the person in intoxicated? That's also in the mode
Yeah.
of ignorance, right? So after
Gambling.
gambling, yeah, illicit relationships, these are all in the mode of ignorance. What is the biggest ignorance?
That we are the body, not the soul.
We are
Yeah,
the
the
body,
body,
not
not the
this.
soul. Exactly. That's the okay. What else? What else struck you?
So Mataji, my understanding is all kind of low act, like stealing and lying, all are mode of ignorance.
Yes. Yes. You got your own answer.
So Mataji, all the anarthas will also be included in mode of ignorance only, like anger, lust, greed, and everything.
Well, some of them are in the mode of passion.
Passion as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, in chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will describe a little bit more on what all these modes of material nature do. And so, one thing very interesting is that we might think that being in the mode of goodness is a very good thing to be, very good place to be, right? Come in the mode of goodness. But here, what does it say about mode of goodness? Mode of goodness, what does it do?
Being poorer than the others.
It frees us from sinful activities.
Yeah, whose turn is it to read? Let's read the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Varshana Mataji read it last time.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Text 6.
sorry, this Komal.
Query text 6, Shraddha Mataji.
Yes, yes.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
So you can become conditioned,
Oh,
so
yeah.
all these modes of material nature are still conditioning on you.
Yeah.
Right? So condition means that you will behave accordingly. I am conditioned to do this. And there's such a famous experiment that Pavlov's experiment with the dog and the salivating dog that he used to do, right? He used to give food to the dog and he would ring the bell also. And the dog would start salivating. And then after some time, he would not put the food, he would just ring the bell and the dog would start salivating. This is like, conditioned by the mode. Whenever there's a bell ringing, I have to salivate. So these modes of material nature act upon us like that. And the interesting thing to note is that, and this is very, very important. So when you get conditioned by the modes of material nature, you will act accordingly. And that is why we say that we talk about the embodied living entity is conditioned, or the conditioned soul. We use that term all the time, right? So embodied living entity means a living entity, a soul that has taken on a material body. When we use the term embodied, that's what it generally means. So embodied um, living being, right? Entity. And so it's embodied and then it is conditioned. So what it will do is that according to the body that it has got, it'll start behaving like that. For example, if it's in a human body, it'll like to eat cooked food, will not like to eat grass. But if it goes into a cow's body, it'll enjoy eating grass. The same living entity, right? So that's why the 13th chapter we read, Prakritiya Kriyamanani Gudaha Karmani Sarvasa, right? So no, not that is from previous chapter, sub 7. The one in 13 says that what is that verse? Bhukte prakriti jayar gunan karanan gunasangasya sad asad yoni janmasu. So it says prakriti purusha prakriti stohi bhukte prakriti jayar karanam gunasangasya sad asad yoni janmasu. So it says that purusha, here the word purusha is referred to as the soul. And it's all that this purusha, this soul it comes into contact. It comes into not just comes into contact. When it is conditioned by by the by the modes of material nature, you know. So here's the thing, that the living entity can come in contact with the material nature. So what I'm just trying to say is that the soul comes in the human body, right? So the human body, when the soul is there, the soul is in contact with the human body. When the soul is put in a cow's body, it's in contact with the cow's body. It is there. So that contact has to be there, right? But the interesting thing is that, that just because you are in contact or that you are in association with the material body, it doesn't mean that you have to behave like the material body. The material body can do everything or anything that it likes to do, but as a soul inside, you can still stay aloof from it. Just like how somebody was mentioning the other day, that how a lotus leaf, the lotus flower is there in the muddy waters, but it still stays beautiful and clean, doesn't get affected by that. So just by connection, you will not get, nothing is going to happen to you just by connection. So remember, Prabhupada also had a material body in that sense that he was born here, right? And Krishna also comes into this material world. He comes in his spiritual body, but he's in connection with this Maya, right? He's walking on the earth, which is material, like that. So he's there. And of course, with Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he can come even in a material body, but then he can still do his pastimes because he is God. Like that, there's a difference between God and us. When we go into a body, then we start behaving like the body, right? But there is a difference over there. Just being placed in a human body doesn't mean that you have to get affected by that. And what I mean, or infected by the modes. And what I mean by that is that in the morning, the things are very calm, peaceful, calm, and quiet. So the material nature is in the good mode of goodness, not you. You are a soul, you don't change. You can't change and go from mode of goodness to mode of passion to mode of ignorance, because soul never changes, remember that. So it's the material world, the material entities, the things around you, they undergo because they are material. So in the morning, everything atmosphere is in the mode of goodness. And then the sun rises. So then the electromagnetic rays from the sun start, falling on this material world. And so the things start changing, and then the things go into the mode of passion. And then when the sun goes down, then the mode of ignorance, the world goes into the mode of ignorance. But you are aloof from all this. You will get affected by this only if you get infected by the modes. Infected by the modes is that, I'm thinking I am this body. Now you suffer all this. So that is how a person, even in this body, can become liberated in this material world. Even in this material world, they can become liberated because they are not infected by the modes. For example, that there is, someone, what about the superintendent of police, right? Right? So superintendent of police is in contact with the police department, right? He might even go to the jail sometimes. So, but a criminal is also in contact with the police department. So what's the difference? Both of them are in contact with the police department, right? So there's a difference between them. The other one, the criminal, has been infected by criminal activities, and so he will get a different reaction to his going into the police department. Whereas the superintendent of police has not done any crime. So when he goes inside the police department, people are going to salute him instead, right? Not going to punish him and put shackles on his legs, right? So similarly with us, then, although we are in the modes of, we are situated in a material body, the choice still lies with the soul. For example, during the night time, when it is dark, so there's a lot of mode of ignorance. So that's why they tell boys and girls don't stay outside in the dark, right? So mode of material nature will act on them, right? But the choice is still ours, that when the mind goes into the mode of ignorance and the mind starts presenting crazy ideas to us, we still have a choice. And if the intelligence is also getting affected a little bit, we still have a choice, right? For example, sometimes you go and ask somebody for opinion, right? So like, should I buy a Lexus or should I buy a Toyota? You can go and ask that, right? And so Sutapa comes and talks to her, you should buy a Lexus and things like that. So she's giving me some suggestion, right? Archana can come and say, don't go for that, just buy a second-hand car. She can go do everything. So they can do everything and they can say anything that they want. But the decision for me, the decision is completely in my hands. I can just go and say, no, I don't think this is right. I don't believe that I should buy a second-hand car like that. So similarly, the modes of material nature will act. They will behave in a certain manner. And that's how they act. But remember, we should not get infected by that. That's the key point to remember. Okay.
I have a question, Mataji.
Sulekha Mataji, go ahead.
So for material, like buying a car, for example, so it feels so materialistic to want and buy a car, to want to buy a car in the first place. So whether it's a Tesla or whether it's a Lexus or it's a used car, what is the right choice or right way of thinking about which car to buy?
You should buy a big car that can carry 6 boxes of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, who's the book distribution leader for ISV, purchased a big van just for that. So you see,
Yeah,
when
tying it to Krishna.
tying
Yeah.
it to Krishna, exactly. If you tie it to Krishna, you can buy as big a car as lavish. There are people in Los Angeles, I know, they maintain limousines. And one would think, like, what a big show off it is to have a limousine. Who needs a limousine? It's difficult to, maneuver and things like that. But when I first went to Los Angeles Temple 8 years ago, I think, and so it was Rath Yatra. And then I saw the deities come out of the temple, and the deities sat in a limousine, and they were going on the streets of Los Angeles in a limousine. I was like, wow, you need a limousine so that Krishna can drive around in Los Angeles in a limousine. So you see how the devotees over there give due respect to Krishna, like he's the king. He deserves a limousine, right? And not that just because I got married, I'll rent a limousine for $60 and sit on it and drink. They're putting
That's
such a good use to the limousine, right? And of course, throughout the year, they spend money on the limousine to maintain it, right? But they're doing it for Krishna. So Sulekha Mataji, when it comes, when anything which is done for this with Krishna's and connection, it no longer remains material. We had
yeah.
talked about a list of items, right? That do not get affected, and they remain
They become
they
transcendental.
become transcendental. Yeah. What were some examples that we took that day?
We talked about the lamp for doing the prayers,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. Vashana Mataji gave a very strong example that day, I remember. Mataji, do you remember what example you gave us? Do we have her with us?
No, Mataji, I don't remember.
You had said even the knife which I used to chop the vegetables.
Yes, yes.
It's transcendental.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji, one.
Yeah, after Meera. Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. So it seems like some of the things, material things, are so necessary. We have to have it. It's just basic things. And I don't remember, oh, it's for Krishna I'm doing it. So this is something I have to start incorporating on.
Yes.
Because when the Mataji said that, oh, if you buy a car, for most of us, a car is a necessity to go here and there.
Yes.
So, or to get a house or rent a place or
Yes.
so many utilities.
Yeah.
So I never thought that I'm doing it for Krishna.
Yes. So we have to consciously get into that practice because we are all doing Vedahi Bhakti according to the rules and regulations. And Bhakti doesn't come naturally to us. Somebody has to tell us to do that. And we have to practice doing that. And as you get deeper into it, it's so amazing that, I find so many devotees over here in the Bay Area who have purchased houses. And when I go and talk to them, they are like, oh, why did you buy this house here? Oh, as soon as I entered, I thought the altar will look good here. As soon as I entered, I saw there's a separate room. They're constantly thinking about Krishna. Oh, this kitchen has got 2 sinks. So I can, keep one for washing dishes of the Lord. So it's amazing that how their minds start to work. And it will start working that way for you also. Just need to be in the association of devotees and you'll see that happening. So
Thank
they
you.
buy a house for that. They will buy, And even if they stop doing things for themselves, like buying too many saris for themselves, they will stop doing that. But instead now they'll start buying saris for Radharani, and go and give it to her to wear in the temple. You know, so they do all kinds of things, always constantly connecting. But it doesn't mean that we have to. There are certain things which we have to do to keep the body and the soul together, right? So you need certain things. You need to eat. You need some clothes, right? But not too much. Too much is wrong, right? Sarvarambha parityagi. We read that in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Like, don't do too much, right? Don't overindulge. Don't just say, I need this and that. Just little is little, more is more, but enough is enough. So, what is enough? That is the thing that we need to inculcate in our minds, that what exactly is enough? What exactly is enough? Some people think that I have to earn so much that 6 generations after me should not need money, right? If they do that, they do that, right? Let me do this, let me do that. And you never know how much opulence a jiva has to see. Here's the thing with the material, in the material world, that whatever you are destined to get, you will get. That is why you got a certain body, and you're born in a certain house, and you're living in a certain country, and you're surrounded by a certain set of people, so that those things will happen. That the decisions and the choices that you have here in this material world are the choices in the transcendental realm. Choices of in the line of devotional service. Those are the choices that you will have. Karma will happen, but because you're doing devotional service, it becomes easy for you to adjust and and tolerate the karmic reactions that come your way. And then as you proceed in devotional service, your mind completely changes. Even when you're getting karmic reaction, then you can now start saying that Tattenu Kampam Susamik Chamano, right? Kumsu Komal Radhe Mataji has memorized that. And so Tattenu Kampam Susamik is now like, now I'm going through these bad things, and now I'm telling Krishna that Krishna, I actually deserved worse. So this is the thing, that the soul gets into the habit of being grateful to Krishna, come what may. You give me good things, I'm happy. You give me bad things, I say, I deserve worse. So again, I'm happy that you reduced it for me. So you see, that's such a sweet relationship that has developed, right? As this kind of like, how we have relationship we have with our kids, right? The kid is very sweet to us. We say, I have such a sweet kid. The kid behaves obnoxiously. We refuse to see the obnoxiety in there, if there's a word like obnoxiety. But anyway, the obnoxiousness in the child's behavior, and we just say, oh, they must be going through something. So either ways, because of the relationship that is there. So similarly, the devotee's relationship with the Lord becomes like that they can never see a flaw. And if somebody starts criticizing Krishna, they get angry.
Mataji,
All right.
I have to say something like that, what you're saying. After my retirement and my husband's retirement, we thought we will leave this country and go back to India. And we build a house. And there, I thought of my God's room nicely, nice mandap and everything. I built it. I put it there. And I have all of the house Krishna's pictures. And there was one Radha Krishna's picture like your height. That picture I have in the front room. And everything is settled, and my husband was a little bit sick, and we came back after. We enjoyed only 1 year that house. And we came back here. That was a beautiful house. We built it. All our hard earning money, we put it there. We sold houses here, everything we went. And then there, what I'm saying is 1 year I enjoyed, I put all the Krishna's deities, and first I thought of all God's room, the chandelier, everything I bought for Krishna only. Then I bought everything outside the rooms. But 1 year I enjoyed, and I came back here. We rented that house. Somebody's enjoying. He doesn't want to vacate. 5 years. My husband has gone almost 5-6 years. And I'm here. And that guy used to pay rent for 3 years, and then he's not paying. He's not vacating the house. Beautiful house I built. Like, tub and chandeliers, air conditions, everything. I enjoyed only 1 year, me and my husband. But somebody is enjoying. And I always think, Krishna, I thought for you, first because all the houses, wherever I went, I didn't have that much big room for my God. So I thought of him only. And first I wanted to build that. And I had a nice big mandir, everything. And everything I left, and I gave it to my sister-in-law that mandir and vacated the house, and we came. And that person is not moving. So I said, what can I say? That if I'm destined to have, I will have it. Brand new house, and he just somebody is enjoying that house. So I told Krishna, that's yours. Still everything I left it. Krishna's day pictures, everything I left in the house only. I said, Krishna, you are there. If you want that house, that is my hard-earned money, that will come. Otherwise, my husband, he didn't take anything, he left. So I will also go like that.
Very well pointed.
That is how I'm feeling every time,
Yes.
But he is just doesn't want to move, and he doesn't want to pay the rent. That is also part.
Yeah. But that's a different issue. So, but the main thing to take from your story is the verse from Ishan Upanishad, which says, Tena tyaktena bhunjita. Tena tyaktena bhunjita is tyaktena means set aside. Bhunjita is enjoy. You can only enjoy it as much as he's been set aside as your quota. Right? Right. So you were not destined to enjoy your hard-earned money or that house, and that's it. But you have found peace with that, and you're happy here, Philadelphia, wherever you go. And that's the mood. That's what I'm saying. That the mood of the devotee changes. Anybody else would have lamented, got angry, taking him to the courts. And I mean, I hear so many stories of people here who talk to me of similar situations, relatives or others moving into their homes and not moving out. And they are like, should I go and sue them and things like that? And I always ask them, like, how much is that property worth? And if it's not worth it, don't even put your head into the legal system there. Just stay away from it. As much as you can stay away from the court, it is much better. Utilize your mind and your energies in something nice and peaceful here, and just let it say, Krishna, it was yours. It was your will.
That's what I thought. All Krishna deities are there. Right. So I said, if it is he's enjoying. I can feel that Krishna is enjoying that house. Whether they are his tenants are enjoying whatever they are doing.
Yeah. And so the bhakta will be happy. How does it matter? Krishna, it was your home, and you want somebody else to live in it, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, you have to look at your circumstances and see whether it's worth it, to go and fight, and you have the time and the energy and the inclination, and then you saw your husband leave this world without the house. So that says
he didn't take anything. He's the one who wanted that house and build. He said, we are retired. We don't want to stay here. Children are settled. They let them have their own life. Let's go. He was the one who forced me to. 3 years early, I retired. But
this is material world. This is material world. We make our own plans, and then man proposes and God disposes. Yeah. Like that. So Meera Mataji had asked a question, and at that time I think Varshana Mataji was also going to ask a question, and I think we missed her question, did we?
Not the question, Mataji. We were talking about the car that time, and here Her Grace Satyavati Mataji, she gives Bhagavad Gita classes here. And first lecture I had attended, which she gave that after buying Bhagavad Gita. So Mataji, her son said, I want to gift you something, and I'll buy a car for you. So he wanted to get. So she, what kind of a car you want? So she said one car which was very big. So the son said, why do you need such a big car? 8-seater. Why do you need it? Because there are so many devotees who go with me for the class where she gives the class. And I was one of them, you see. I happened to be on the way she used to come and pick me up from here to where she used to go. So the whole car used to be full with the devotees, Mataji. So her aim was to buy a big car so that she can take the devotees with her.
There you go. Such a good example. Thank you for sharing, for utilizing energy of Krishna, the inferior energy of Krishna in his service. So Simi Mataji, you can now safely buy a big car.
Bigger car.
Mataji, you have sanctioned.
Shuleka Mataji.
Was it Sulekha? Not Simi? Okay, yes. Sorry, Sulekha wanted. Yes. Yeah. So Sulekha, in addition to the renovation, you can throw in a new car also. Yeah, yeah. So there are 11 minutes remaining to 8 o'clock my time. And so
So Mataji, I remember Visheshkar Prabhuji saying, like, for a house or something, where if you have like house which can have a lot of people, have a lot of kirtans and bhajans, and have gatherings.
yes,
I remember that.
go for a big house. Yeah, yeah. A house with an extra bedroom so that if a devotee is traveling in Bay Area, you can open your house and yeah.
But Mataji, very small house I had. I used to have home programs and I used to enjoy in Denver.
Yes.
And whereas when I built a big house, there also I had a lot of home programs and everything. But still,
Yeah.
so big house doesn't matter, Mataji.
No. It's not that
Art
big house
should
doesn't
be-
matter. Big house does matter. Because in a small house, you can only accommodate so much, right? For example, if a sannyasi comes to Bay Area, comes to your house, if the house is small, then you can invite 50, 60, 70 into that house, right? But if you have big house, even 300 can come there and listen to Krishna Katha. So that way, big house does matter. But to your point that just because you have a small house doesn't mean that you should say, I can't do Krishna Katha because I don't have a big house. That should not be the mood, right? Kathas can have. I used to do kathas in this home till I got booted out by the association for playing Mridangam. So, yeah, so you can start anywhere that you like. Prabhupada started underneath a tree and started
Yes.
this whole movement, right? Can do that, yeah.
In our San Jose temple.
4,000 plates of prasadam. Yeah, 4,000 plates of prasadam from that tiny kitchen. I cannot imagine how Hansapriya Mataji did the magic every year. How much was how big was it? I think 10 feet by maybe 6 feet.
Yes.
What, the kitchen?
Kitchen.
Not even 10 feet.
Not even 10, huh?
I mean, if you count the side room, but the actual kitchen.
Actual kitchen, was
Yeah,
8 maybe? Huh?
8 feet maybe.
8 by 6. 8 by 6 equal to 4,000 plates. Prasadam. Yeah.
Were you in San Jose before?
You were in
I
San
have
Jose.
been there early 2000, right?
Yes. Yes.
I came there once or twice actually. It was like in a strip mall, a one room.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. But I don't remember any faces though. I used to come every now and then.
We were very young. We look different.
Yeah.
I was not even in ISKCON.
But now, like before this coronavirus, even our bigger temple now feels small, right? Because there are so many devotees. So it's
Yeah.
always Krishna's mercy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He attracts devotees.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, 12, 20.
Okay, so we have 7 minutes left. In the 7 minutes, let's just at least read one from the chapter 20 of the verse 20 of the 12th chapter. It's a small chapter. It's a small verse,
Verse.
and let's go. And it's the last.
It's also the last verse, I think.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see this now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Are you seeing the one which says BG 12-20? Is that one you're seeing?
Not yet, Mataji. Now it is there.
Okay. Okay, whose turn is it?
I think
I
Shulika Mataji.
Shulika Mataji's turn.
Shulika Mataji.
Sulekha, come on.
She's not there.
What happened? She's not here. The next can not.
Yeah,
That's-
Mataji can read.
Mataji, should I read if Sulekha Mataji is not there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, should I repeat after you or just read?
Just read.
Okay. Ye tu dharmamat dharmartam idam
Dharmadatam.
yatho katam paruyupasate shraddhana mat parma bhaktaste tiva me Priya.
Good. Who's next?
My turn, Mataji. Ye, those who, tu, but, dharma of religion, amartam, nectar, amritam, nectar, idam is yatha as yuktam said, paryupasate, completely engage, shrad, shraddha, shraddha with faith, mat parama, taking me, the Supreme Lord, as everything, bhakta, devotee, te, te, atva, very, very, me, to me, priya, dear. Vindhyavali Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Or Shruti Priya Mataji has joined if she wants to read the translation.
Sure, Mataji. Translation. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Should I read the purport?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead since you didn't read earlier.
Okay, thank you. In this chapter, from verse 2 through the end, from Maya Aveshya Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, to Yetu Dharma Amritam Idam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, one works without fructive results, meditates, and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step by step improvement in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle six chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the matter of devotional service. Om Tat Sat.
Oh, that's that. Hari Om. Okay, fantastic. So we will come back and do this one again. We just had enough time to to go over this. But so the next time that we assemble together again, which will be
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, okay?
Jnana.
So tomorrow we will go over in details of that. It's a very nice verse, and it's a concluding verse of Bhagavad Gita. And I'm kind of just glad that we decided to continue on during Kartik and even after Kartik was over to continue to do that, because then now we can say that we have read in great details all the 20 verses of 12th chapter, which is the most important chapter in Bhagavad Gita, anyways, right? That. Okay, so what is the meaning of very, very?
Oh, yeah.
Me. No. Very, very, very. Ateva. Ateva.
Yes. For 25 points. Ativ.
Ativa.
Ativ mein priya.
Eva.
Right? And this has got some very nice, there's some very nice points coming up over there. But we will do those points tomorrow at the same time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'd like to thank all of the devotees who have been watching us here on Facebook, starting with Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu, his lovely wife, Himlata Mataji, Chaturika Sakhi Mataji from Los Angeles is also there. And Varshana Keshavi Devi Dasi is also there. And Vijayalakshmi Nair Mataji is there. Vidya Vadhu Devi Dasi is there. So, Dandavat pranams and Dandavat pranams to all of you, dear devotees who are here.
Shaki Bhakti Vairacya Patitanam Pavanabhayo Vaishnavibhayo Namo
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank
Mata.
you, everybody, for
Thank
coming
you so
here.
much, ma'am. Thank you so
Thanks for accepting me latecomer.
There's a fine for you, one box of Bhagavad Gita. I forgot to tell you.